Thank you, Mark, and a big hello from London. Sometimes there are just too many technical actions taking place that I do not feel I can do each of them justice in the short time I have, and I may emphasize one technical piece of action over another, which is not always fair. This past week has been such a time, as not only did we have a hell of a lot of weekly technical patterns for last week, which on their own were easily visible over the weekend, but we also had a large number of monthly technical patterns happening last Thursday night for the whole of November as well. I will start first with the monthly patterns, and I will add some small piece of commentary here and there when I think fit, but please know all these in their own way are important. So for the month of November, we had a monthly key reversals down in US dollar against the Canadian dollar, euro against sterling, US dollar against the Japanese yen, US dollar against the Chinese yuan, the onshore Chinese yuan, US dollar against the Swedish krona, Chicago lean hog futures, and for the TikTok generation out there, AMC stock of the US as well. At the same time, we also had monthly key reversals up in November for US dollar against the Indian rupee and sterling rand, South African rand, which just goes to show that the monthly key reversals in currencies were not all one way and deserving of more attention. Importantly, we also had monthly key reversals up in the Baltic Handymax Index, the Baltic Panamax Index, and the Baltic Supramax Index. This is an important coincidence, as it goes to show the bullish pressure on freight rates is uniform across varying ship sizes. It was also picked up by grain stats, leading to an interesting online discussion of the impact across grain and oilseed prices in the US such a move up in freight rates may have. Okay, so that's it for November, for the monthlies for November. Now let's take a look at the weekly key reversals I saw last week. So there were weekly key reversals up last week in UK FTSE stock index futures, the French CAC 40 stock index futures, and the Nasdaq Composite Index. An interesting assortment, but not wholly endorsing such a move across equities. We also had weekly key reversals up in US T-note futures and US T-bond futures. An interesting combination there, as well as the Osaka Japanese JGB, that's the Japanese government bond futures. In the currencies, we had weekly key reversals up in US Danish krona, US dollar Romanian lei, interestingly the US dollar Hong Kong dollar, and the Swiss franc Polish zloty cross. Importantly, much like the monthlies, we had contrary weekly key reversals down in currencies as well. In euro against the US dollar, in euro against the Japanese yen, and in US dollar against the Norwegian krona. This does leave a distorted picture here, and we see further distortions later on as well. We had further weekly key reversals down in NYMEX RBOB futures, EX German power base futures, plus an interesting weekly key reversal up in EX butter futures. Now comes the contrary bit, as we had a weekly key reversal up in GameStop stock of the US, a favorite of the TikTok generation, that somewhat counters the monthly key reversal down in November, previously mentioned in AMC. Then we come to a really contrary piece, one that left me scratching my head a little bit, but still finding it true. We had two weekly key reversals up last week, one in Chicago wheat futures and one in Kansas City wheat futures. But we then had a weekly key reversal down in UK ICE feed wheat futures at the same time. This deserves more thought and analysis, and I will do so in my weekly grains commentary this coming Friday. But for now, I just wish to have it noted. Now, as always, I'm happy to answer any direct questions of anyone who is interested. And with that, I'll finish this section from London. I hope that you found these comments useful.
Thank you for listening. This weekly broadcast gives the essential market patterns and consequences. Please be aware of the risk disclaimer posted both at the front and the back of this broadcast. Copyright is Eddie Toftbig and ADM Investor Services International Limited. And here comes the final important bit.